Hey everyone, welcome back to Learning with Lou, and today we're going to talk about adding mixed numbers. If you haven't already, I'm going to suggest that you go check out my identifying mixed numbers video. That way you can have a better understanding of the different parts of a mixed number, and that way you can conceptually understand better what is it that you're adding. So when you're adding mixed numbers, it's actually a lot just like adding fractions. You have your whole numbers and your fractions. You have 3 and 5/8 plus 2 and 2/8. The first thing I recommend you do is you add your whole numbers. So we have 3 and 2. Those are the two blue whole numbers we have. 3 plus 2 gives us 5. And then you just go ahead and you add your fractions. So we have 5/8 from 3 and 5/8 and 2/8 from 2 and 2/8. 5/8 plus 2/8 gives us 7/8. Then you just put your two answers together. You had your whole numbers, which 3 plus 2 was 5, and your fraction, which is 5/8 plus 2/8 equals 7/8, so your final answer is 5 and 7/8. You just have to make sure if you're adding mixed numbers that have two different denominators, make sure you rename those fractions first. That way you can make sure you're adding with the same denominator. Let's do one of these together before I have you pause and try it by yourself. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to look, first off my denominators are the same, so I'm good to go. I'm going to add up my whole numbers. So 4 plus 3, that's going to give me 7. And then I have my fractions. 2/5 plus 1/5, that's going to give me 3/5. How about you go ahead and pause the video here and try the rest of these questions on your own, and then afterwards I'll put the answers up and you can see how you did. Okay, so now that you've tried these on your own, let's go over them real quick. So 1 and 2/4 plus 6 and 2/4, it actually gave us 7 and 4/4, but if you remember, anytime you have the same numerator and denominator, like 4/4, it's actually equal to the whole number 1. So I really ended up with 7 plus 1, which is just 8. Then over here, I had two different denominators, so I had to make sure I renamed one of my fractions. 2 and 1/2, I had to multiply my denominator by 4 to make it match the 8, and then I had to multiply my numerator by the same number times 4. So I ended up with 2 and 4/8 plus 1 and 3/8, that gave me 3 and 7/8. Over here, I had to rename both of my fractions, and I realized that between 5 and 3, the lowest common denominator was 15. So I had to change both of those to get a denominator of 15. 5 times 3 was 15. I had to do 2 times the same thing, 2 times 3. So I ended up getting 3 and 6/15, plus I had to do this denominator 3 times 5 to get 15, which means my numerator had to be multiplied by 5. I ended up with 5/15. You add them together and you get 8 and 11/15. Over here I didn't have to rename anything. 6 and 4/7 plus 2 and 2/7. 6 plus 2 gave me 8. 4/7 plus 2/7 gave me 6/7. And then the last one over here, again, no renaming anything. I just had 1 and 6/14 plus 8 and 7/14, which gave me 9 and 13/14. So hopefully this is becoming easier to you as you see it get completed. There is just one thing I want to bring up when you're adding mixed numbers, and sometimes you'll see that when you add your mixed numbers, you'll end up getting a whole number mixed with an improper fraction. So what does that mean? Let's take a look. We have 2 plus 1, which is 3, so 3 is our whole number. Then you go ahead and you add your fractions. 3/4 plus 2/4, that's going to give us 5/4. Now, I always tell my students, and this always confuses them, you can't leave a mixed number that has an improper fraction in it. It's an improper fraction, or it's called a fraction greater than 1, because that's what it is. When you have a numerator that's bigger than your denominator, you're looking at a fraction greater than 1 whole. 5 is bigger than 4, so that's more than 1 whole. Think about it like the pizzas. You have one pizza that's cut into 4 slices. If you were to eat 5 slices, that means you had to get another pizza to get a 5th slice. So what do we do about this? We're going to take our 5/4 and we're just going to leave our 3 wholes over here. We're going to take our 5/4 and we're just going to focus on that for a second to make it its own mixed number. So there's two ways you can turn this improper fraction into its own mixed number, and I'll show you both. The first one is by decomposing. Now we're going to decompose 5/4. Now when I say decompose, that just means we're going to break it apart. I'm going to take it and I'm going to break it into different pieces. Now, the first part you want to break it into is a fraction equal to 1 whole. So I'm working with fourths here. So I'm going to say, okay, I could break apart my 5/4 into 4/4 plus how much do I still need to get back to 5/4? 4/4 plus 1/4, that's my 5/4 broken apart. 4/4 plus 1/4. And you're probably saying, okay, well, how does that help me? What you have here, your 4/4, this is really one whole. So you have one whole plus your 1/4 over here. So you have 1 and 1/4. That's your mixed number. If decomposing confuses you, you could also think about it like subtraction. You have your 5/4. And another thing I usually tell my students is just take out one whole from it. So again, you want to make sure your denominator is 4. So you're taking out 4/4. You're still taking out that one whole. And then think to yourself, what's left? If you started with 5/4 and you take out 4/4, there's still 1/4 left. That's one whole. And now you don't have enough fourths to take out another one whole, so you just keep that as your fraction, 1 and 1/4. You can also do this with division. So, what you have to remember, if you're turning an improper fraction into a mixed number using division, you do your numerator divided by your denominator. So you have your 5, I like to call it the division house to help my students remember. You have your 5 inside, and your 4 is outside. And to help my students remember, I always tell them this. Whatever your denominator is, it's underground because it's under the fraction bar. If it's underground, leave it outside the house. You don't want to take things from underground inside the house. So we have 5 inside the house and 4 outside the house. And now we go on to our actual division. You could ask yourself, how many times does 4 go into 5? It's 1 time. 4 times 1 gives us 4, so we're going to go ahead and subtract. 5 minus 4 gives us 1. And now that my remainder here is less than my outside number, my number 4, that is my final remainder. So now that we have one remainder 1, all you have to do is just remember, your quotient, your number that's not your remainder, your quotient becomes your whole number, your remainder becomes your numerator, so my remainder was 1, that's my numerator, and you keep your original denominator. So either way, however we do this, we always get 5/4 is equal to 1 and 1/4. So now that we know how to do this, the final step is you take your whole number, so you have 3, that was our original whole number, plus your new mixed number. So it's not 5/4 anymore. We have 1 and 1/4. We have 3 plus 1 and 1/4, which 3 plus 1 is 4, and then you just keep your fractions. So our final answer is 4 and 1/4. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video helped you if you are having any misunderstandings about adding mixed numbers. Please, if you learned something from this video, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps me out a lot. And if you want to keep seeing future content get covered, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. Always remember that all of these resources you see me use, I have them available for you to download on my website. You can find the link to that in the description. Thank you again, and never stop learning.